All right, guys, thanks. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'm going to do a kind of a brief opening statement, a couple things I want to, talk about, and then obviously I'm going to open up for questions. First and foremost, thanks for all the coverage. Not only last year, but since I've been here, the coverage is obviously getting bigger and better, and wrestling's on the forefront of everybody's mind, not only during our season, but year-round. So I truly appreciate everybody here. Brad, our SID, not only for putting this together, but everything you do. Again, wrestling is a big thing here at this university. It's because of our SID and our relationship, and I appreciate that. PJ, I know PJ's in the back, his marketing team. Again, just a great job putting Rutgers wrestling in the forefront of everybody. Our donors, our alum, our fans, everybody else who donated to this beautiful place. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. I love where we're standing right now on the second floor of the APC. It's a special, special place. I'm sure we're going to get into it, but it's pretty cool. We got a morning lift this morning, and most of you guys got an opportunity to see what we do every day. Come up here, have a team meal in this little cafeteria, walk down the hall, and get ready for an 11:15 practice. So it's been a lot of dialogue, a lot of time spent with our guys, much more than ever before. So that's obviously a big plus. This building has been an incredible plus for this program. And now we move on to, that was the Big Ten build, and now we're moving on to our new The Bells Must Ring campaign. So for the people out there listening, just get on board with the new Bells Must Ring campaign, because that's another project we're looking, and everybody's asking, what can we do to help you guys? How can we help Rutgers Wrestling? Well, that's the newest campaign, the Bells Must Ring, and we're fortunate enough to have two guys who were able to ring those bells last year along with myself, which I thought was pretty cool. I never even knew about that tradition over at Old Queens, and that was pretty neat to be able to ring those bells, and hopefully we're doing a whole heck of a lot more of that in the future. And I know we got some guys in the back that want to be a part of that tradition, and you'll be able to talk to them a little bit later. A year in review, obviously, and I don't want to dwell on what went on last year, but it was a special year. It certainly helped this program, not only from finishing ninth in the country, a top 10 finish, but just all the appearances and all the accolades and all the Rutgers wrestling stuff that's been out there because of what Anthony Ashnault and Nick Suriano were able to do. And it gives our guys something to strive for, right? That's the ultimate in this sport, winning a national championship. And those guys were able to do that, and it capped off an incredible march. And it's not the last we'll talk about it, I'm sure, but for this program right now and the 30 guys in that room, we have moved on, and it's who's going to be next type situation going on in there, and that's kind of the way we're going about it. Anthony's with us every single day training. As you know, he's been injured. He hurt his knee in the Open finals with James Green, and he's back almost 100%, not quite. I would probably anticipate his next competition being in December at the U.S. Open, which will qualify him for the Olympic trials. And Nick's been in and out, been in here training, but he's also has taken this Olympic red shirt. As we all know, he's on an Olympic red shirt. He's not enrolled in school, and he's using this time to go travel, and he's been out Tennessee, Chattanooga with a personal coach, and he's been out in Oklahoma. So he's done so, along with being here with our RTC and our team. Nick's been all over, so he'll get ready for the Farrell. I think it's November 15th and 16th, if I'm correct, to qualify for the Olympic trials. And if he doesn't do it at the Farrell, he'll do it December 20th down in Texas at the U.S. Open. So that's our plans for those two. That's what those two are up to. A new addition to our program, Tyler Graff, assistant volunteer coach with the program. Tyler, as you know, was 5th in the World Championships a couple months ago in Kakistan, and he's joined our staff as the volunteer coach. Great addition for our lightweights. Totally the opposite of myself and Coach Pritzloff. Very, very quiet. Really good with our guys from a technical standpoint, and loves to train, loves to compete, has a really good mind for the sport. So we're excited to have Tyler. As far as our team right now, what you can expect going forward here, you could expect a whole lot of youth mixed with a lot of veterans. It's a really neat situation we have going on where, the recruiting class is well documented. At any point, you'll probably see 5, 6, 7 freshmen wrestling in a lineup. And when I say freshmen, I mean redshirt freshmen as well. Billy Janser's a redshirt freshman. Nick Aguilar, Malcolm Robinson, those guys, Kyle Leitner, they're redshirt freshmen. And then there'll be some true freshmen that you'll see in the lineup starting this week. So it's a really good mixture of the some youth, really, really young, and then there's some older guys that really makes for some good balance. So it's been great. Preseason has been awesome. I'm sure I'll get who stood out in the first 3 or 4 months of practice, and we've been at it really since March last year. But there's a lot of guys. I think there's a total turnaround in Matt Correnti. I think you're going to see a really big turnaround in Correnti, who's had an awesome spring, and I think he was tired of being mediocre, as he puts it. He's tired of mediocrity. So there's been a whole change in his perception and his lifestyle and on the sport in general. I think you'll see a lot from guys like Nick Santos and Brett Donner and Zach Firestone, who have never really been in our lineup. They've never wrestled a match yet. So this weekend will be the first for those guys, and they've had really, really big summers and really big falls. So I know there's not a lot of experience as far as match goes or national qualifiers. I think we have Grello returns as a national qualifier. Pete Lipari is a national qualifier. Pagano from 2 years ago, coming off an elbow injury, didn't wrestle at all last year. So really, for the most part, Grello and Colucci are guys with some experience, and Lipari. Other than that, you'll see a lot of fresh new faces come Saturday, and we'll be doing it all year long. I know there's been a buzz about our Wrestle-offs, which is great, right? Which is great. There's been a lot of action on Twitter and Instagram and social media, and what Wrestle-offs really mean. And for the people who follow this program and myself in general know, they really mean nothing. It's a match. It's an indicator match, and it doesn't decide our lineup. Heck, we have 3 or 4 guys last year, 3 or 4 guys in our program that you'll see Saturday never won a wrestle-off. So it means nothing. There's a lot of – it may mean who's going to wrestle against LI Post at 10 o'clock. That's what it means maybe. Other than that, there'll be competition throughout this first semester. Our schedule will allow that. We'll go to the Navy Classic where we could bring a bunch of guys. We'll go to the Journeyman next weekend where we could bring a bunch of guys. We'll go to the Southern Scuffle where we could bring a bunch of guys. So just because a guy's not going to redshirt doesn't mean the position or the weight class is solidified. He's got to work his tail off to keep that. And the one thing this program has now is 1, 2, 3 really good guys at every single weight. And I think off the top of my head, I think we have 3 really good guys at 149. I think we got 3 really good guys at 133. I think we got 3 really good guys at 197. So there's guys that can wrestle, and we're excited about that. There's probably more depth than we've ever had. From an injury standpoint, right now Luke Eckloff won't wrestle for a couple weeks. He's hurt. Willie Scott, a little banged up with a shoulder injury, both of them with shoulder injuries. Cody Harrison got a little nicked in the wrestle-off. I don't think those are long-term injuries. I just think it's early. It's only early November. Well, it's October 31st right now, but it's early November. We won't push those guys. They'll all be available in 2 to 3 weeks. And the biggest one is probably Ryan Vulak, who it'll be a little bit more time. And he's somebody who's going to really be a huge part of this program. This kid is really, really special, really, really good. He's dealing with a back injury that will probably sideline him for a little bit. And we're not going to push that because obviously he has a redshirt year if we decide to go that route, which if you ask me right now, gun to my head, that'd probably be the smartest thing just because it's an injury that occurred last year in his senior year of high school. That's kind of re-aggravating him. And, with a lower back injury, we don't want to mess with that. As far as our recruiting class goes for 2020, you guys know I can't, by NCAA rules, announce any names, but we have 4 of them in the top 100 overall recruits in the country. 4 of them are ranked in the top 100, which is big news, and 2 of them from New Jersey, 2 of them from Ohio. And then we have 2 others that aren't ranked, are both from New Jersey, some upper weight. So that's our recruiting class right now. It's been extremely busy. Now being able to recruit juniors, we've had some of the best guys in the country on campus, both senior class and junior class. So obviously this facility allows us to do some special things, and it's attracted a lot of good guys. So we're excited about our recruiting. We're excited about our season, and I'm sure we'll get into it as we open it up for some questions now. So we'll do that now.
Scott, what's the plan with JoJo? Is he going to redshirt? Is he going to wrestle?
The plan with Aragona's going to wrestle. Aragona's going to wrestle this week. JoJo, along with Sammy Alvarez, will wrestle this week, and we'll probably have Jackson Turley ready to wrestle if he's healthy enough to go this week. But here's the one thing, and it's a great question because these guys, this thing has been built by all the guys that have come before him so much. That building over there, the rack, is an extremely exciting place to wrestle. These guys have grown up wearing Rutgers wrestling shirts, dying to wrestle in that facility. They don't want to wait anymore, and wrestling's expanded. It's gotten better at a younger level, and I know I'm rambling about this question, but here's the reality. These guys want to go. They don't want a red shirt. It's a short window. They're healthy. And when you're healthy, sometimes at this level, you take that advantage and you go. Can we develop him more? Sure, but he wants to learn on the fly. It's his decision. Does that mean it's his spot? No. But for Saturday, he's going to wrestle, and he'll have a chance to battle it out all year long. But JoJo are going to, along with Sammy Alvarez, will wrestle Saturday, yes.
On the same train of thought, Scott, Kennard?
Kennard, we'll keep him in red shirt for the week. Again, he's another one who wants to wrestle. We'll see where he's at. Again, every situation is different. It's tricky. Is it the right decision? I don't know. Is it the wrong decision? I don't know. We'll figure it out, but I could tell you Robbie wants to wrestle. But for this week, we'll keep him in red shirt. He'll wrestle a couple, the journeymen. Our whole team's going to go actually unattached. It's not a date on our schedule, but we're all going to go up there and compete unattached. And then the same thing for this week. He'll be at the Princeton Open. So we'll get a really good idea of what, and then maybe we bring one or two of those guys out to Fresno, out to California, and not necessarily wrestle them, but maybe sit them and see where they're at and then make a decision at the Navy Classic. And that's where Robbie Kennard fits right now.
With a guy like Aragona, how long of a leash do you give him when you have someone like Pete Lapari, who's a quality NCAA qualifier, right behind him?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, there's two really, really good guys. That's what this program has become. It's unfortunate, but we have two really good guys that we believe in there, and the best programs, that's what they have. And it's a difficult decision, but when a kid tells you he wants to go, you know, this is college wrestling. This is hard. He wants to go now. We're going to allow that, and we'll give Pete an opportunity. He'll have an opportunity to wrestle and win big matches. And you know how I am, Lex. You've wrestled here, and you know what this program is about. It's the guy who's winning in the big spots, the guy who could wrestle in front of the lights on a big stage. Those are the guys we want out there.
Just to clarify, Turley's going to go 65 this weekend?
Yes, Turley's 165. Will he go this weekend? He's been kind of banged up. We'll get a look at him today. But I that's kind of up in the air. But I know the plan for it, because you need two guys, right? We can't go into the season with one of them. So the plan is for Turley to wrestle.
You mentioned the youth movement. How big is that, knowing that you're going to open the season at home with another quad, and you get these guys to kind of get the rust off, so to speak, and get them to actually wrestle other guys?
Well, I think we've used these last month, 2 months to get the rust off. This isn't, I know we open with a quad every year, and I know you guys think maybe from a dual meet standpoint we should roll, right? I mean, there's some Division III teams, but we're wrestling the number one team in the country, Division II. We better be ready to wrestle Saturday, and if they're going to get their rust off, they better get it off before Saturday. So that's kind of our message to them. I know it's a Division II program, but they're very, very good, and and sometimes you get these Division II, Division III guys. There's a reason they're not at Division I, right? A lot of it's academics, a lot of it's maybe social life, and then next thing you know, they show up on the scene, Division II or III. These guys can scrap, so we need to be ready to wrestle.
At what point do you have to make a decision with somebody like JoJo? How many matches can they wrestle before they lose their red shirt?
Yeah,
ability?
different than football. Good question, Stu. Different than football. You don't get 4 matches and then you could keep them in red shirt. It doesn't work like that. You come out Saturday, you're out. That's it. You're wrestling. Unless there's, of course, an injury. And if you're done for the year, then you could apply for a medical red shirt. But other than that, if you're out Saturday, you're out.
Coach, how many of your wrestlers are certified to wrestle at multiple weights?
Well, heck, you're certified really to wrestle for the most part any weight. I mean, there's some that have, like, I'll give you an example. Someone like Mikey Van Burl, he's going to wrestle 157 this year. He's certified at 49. He can wrestle 165. Not that we'll do that. I just think of that off the top of my head. Guys are certified where they're certified for the most part, and there's really, I think about Donner could go down if he needed to, and I've gotten Willie Scott cannot go down. He's 174 is the lowest he can go. Anthony Oliveri cannot go 165. Those are the lowest he can go. Kennard can go up. Sure, you can always go up. You can always go up. He's 57-pounder. You can always go up.
And will any of your unattached wrestlers be at Princeton on Sunday?
Oh yeah, we'll have about 10 to 15 guys at Princeton Sunday afternoon, or Sunday morning, I should say.
Coach, who are you looking at as a leader of this team now? You lost Anthony Ashnall, Johnny Van Brill, Nick Gravina. I know Nick was someone who lived his life, as you say, solid in the approach.
Yeah.
Who are you looking at now to be that guy to set an example for this young youth movement you have?
You know what? It's weird. I think everybody's kind of taking that role. I think our upperclassmen are kind of taking that role. And I think that's always been the biggest thing I've always looked for, is trying to find a leader. And even with Anthony, he was a great role model just by the way he trained. Suriano, they didn't really speak to a lot of people, but just by, I mean, Anthony obviously did a lot. Nick went about it differently, and it was by the way he trained. I think he kind of led by example. I think our guys are doing that, but I think there's more of an upperclassman kind of showing the ropes type situation, maybe talking a little bit more, and whether it's Grello, Pagano, Correnti, Firestone, Van Brill, those guys are all a part of that. I think they know we have a young team, but at the end of the day, you know, it's about a championship lifestyle, how you're living your life off the mat. You can't fake it, you can't fool it. Our guys are around each other a lot, and I think that's probably been kind of going on behind the scenes. I mean, it's been awesome, man. These first couple months have been great. I don't know if it's because we're always around each other, you know, being in this new facility, but our upperclassmen have done a really, really good job, I believe. And just, we haven't had any issues, man. It's coming in, putting your head down, going to work, lunch pail type attitude, and everybody's been pretty solid in their approach so far. So we're fired up about that.
With Van Brill, I mean, how much of his struggles last year was just having to do with trying to make
Yeah.
41, and how good does he look up a couple
A lot of
times?
it. A lot of it. I would say probably 90% of this is mental. And you start battling a scale, and no matter how much we talk about it, you can't come in here and wrestling practice is for wrestling. You want to do your weight, you do it after. Mentally, you start thinking about how much weight I'm losing. Am I going to be okay with weight? And it just wears on you. And for Mikey, it was a terrible experience. There's no way to sugarcoat it. He had a terrible experience trying to make that weight. He's big and strong. I think he was 170 right after the season ended, and now obviously he's tapered down, but he's really, really strong right now, really, really big. Our strength coach, Mike DeMarco, has done an incredible job really with our whole program. But Mikey's strong and big, and there was maybe a whisper of going 149, but I don't even know if that's an option anymore. I think 157. He's certified at 49, but 157 will be his weight class, and he's even big for that. So good for Mikey.
I guess maybe a little bit how Sammy got here in the summer. It was kind of late when nothing was going on. And what have you seen from him so far?
The way he got here was, if you're a Jersey boy, you should never leave. And I think you realize that. You should never leave. That's just reality. But, you know, just maybe it wasn't a good fit. And he found that out down at summer school and wanted to get back. And we're fortunate. You know, we're fortunate. And he's got an interesting story. We love it. And he's part of our family, and it's been great. And he's exciting. He's different. He's got a unique way of wrestling. It's really, really fun to watch. It's funky, but he loves this sport. He dissects this sport. He uses our resources. What I mean by that, there's a lot of communication with Anthony, with Tyler, with Donnie, how he can get better. So he uses every resource every single day on how to get better. So he's got an incredible career ahead of him, and we look forward to that.
With Janzer, what do you expect out of him this year after the redshirt year?
A lot. He had one of our best redshirt years. He's a horse. He's a big boy. He's big. I was worried about 84 for a while. I really was. He came in like 210 and was really big, but once we started training, his weight has fallen. He's been really disciplined with his weight. He is a powerful, powerful person who wrestles extremely hard, and he's very, very intense. That's kind of the style. What his style is kind of the style we want to emulate. It's get hustle back to the center and get right in your face and look you in the eyes and know he's going to go hard. So I'm excited to see him kick off his career Saturday.
And with Suriano, is there an expectation or a possibility of him coming back second semester?
There's been a lot of talk, and there's been a lot of talk. Is he going to come back in January? Is he going to take the whole year? Right now, it's about him training and preparing for this Olympic dream, which he feels he can make the Olympic team and win an Olympic gold medal, and that's where we're at right now. When that bridge comes, we have to cross it. We'll cross it. It'll come soon enough, right? He'll have to make a decision come December because he's got to reapply for school if that's what he plans to do, and if not, we'll support whatever Nick wants to do. We're excited for him and think he can make a run at this Olympic team.
Aguilar, what have you kind of seen from him? Obviously, redshirt last year was up and down, wrestling unattached.
Yeah, I see a lot more focus, a lot bigger, a lot faster. He's wrestled really, really well. He's done a good job of training. He looks really, really good in the room right now. He wrestled great on Saturday in his Wrestle-offs. He seemed really prepared and motivated and into it. And I say this all the time. You guys know this. That sometimes that redshirt year, man, you get lost. And I think last year, and I think of Leitner and Janzer and Malcolm and all the other guys that redshirted, and I'm probably and Aguilar, and you just get lost. We get on the road; they're not always with us, and you know, and it's I don't want to say a wasted year because you could really do some good stuff with a redshirt year, but man, it's hard, and I think Nick got caught up in that and wasn't around us a lot and was doing things back at home that weren't really necessary into winning a national title one day, and I think now he's forced to because there is no red shirt. He's got to go, and he knows that, and that's kind of where we're at. But he's had a really, really good fall.
Coach, once the Southern Scuffle is over on January 2nd, you're going into the brunt of the Big Ten dual season. How will you determine the close calls for each weight class? Will it be a body of work in the open tournaments?
Sure.
Will there be any more wrestle-offs?
I think it's each situation's different, right? I never really have had a wrestle-off in the middle of the year. Just because you need both guys. We're going to be in the Big Ten at that point in January.
Unlike previous years, you have a lot of weight classes
Sure.
where it's really close who the
And we need
starter
every
should
one
be.
of them. We need every guy. So for me to do a wrestle-off and say, okay, your season's done would be stupid. I need every single guy because the Big Ten presents a whole heck of a lot of problems. Not only the schedule, it's hard. You're wrestling a really, really good guy every single night. There's going to be injuries. And every guy, whether it's one or two or even three in some weight classes, you got to be ready to go because you never know when you're going to get called on. I think about pulling Metzler out of red shirt 2 years ago. He needed to be ready. Luke Eckloff had to wrestle the kid from Minnesota, the Lezak. You got to be ready to go. You got to be ready to go. So, you know, it'll be a body of work. We'll make a decision who's going to go. Think about Geraldo and Theobald. You know, Theobald wasn't the starter at the beginning of the Big Ten season. He wasn't the starter. Geraldo started to struggle. We gave Theobald the shot, took advantage of it, and ran with it. Became an All-American. So nothing's ever closed until it's really closed, and that's kind of the way we're going to go about it, especially in those weights where we have two really good guys.
Coach, with 197, you mentioned Carenti, Pagano, and Leitner there. What's the plan there for this weekend? And I know Leitner made a drop from heavyweight to get back down to 97 as well.
Yeah, I think you'll see. I think what we'll do is we'll go Leitner and Pagano in the quad, and we'll send Carenti to Princeton. That Princeton tournament's a really, really good tournament for all of our guys. We're going to get a really good look at our whole roster against some nationally ranked guys. So dual meets are great. You know how I feel about dual meets, but that tournament's a really good tournament for those guys, and we're going to kind of mix and match our lineup to give us best opportunity to beat some guys and go from there.
What does Grella have to do to, national qualifier to get to that All-America caliber step?
Well, I think he's there. I think Joe Grello's got to realize it in his mind. He's one of the best guys in the country, and he can wrestle with every single one of them. And he's there from a technical standpoint, from a conditioning standpoint, from a strength standpoint. I could tell you he's there. Now it's about getting over the hump and believing you could do it. And he's going to have a ton of opportunities. I know his training has been awesome. He's made a huge jump. He's made a huge jump since last year's national tournament. Again, I see that all in just practice, right? So now that the matches are coming, I'm hoping to see even a bigger jump. But he's really, really good and absolutely has an opportunity to be on that podium come March.
Coach, not as much related to the team, but you did have a good recruiting class this year, and the NCAA just passed that new rule with paying for likeness and such. Do you see any impact on that with your team and recruiting in the sport of wrestling moving forward?
I don't know. I have to really look into it a little bit more. I've read a little bit. I read some of the articles. I watched ESPN a little bit about it. It's a game changer for some of these guys. And if they're able to make money off their name, I don't know how much is it going to affect me? Probably, right? Am I going to have to manage that? I don't know. Do you get into agents? Do you get into like making deals with people to wear their gear or to ride their car? I don't know. I don't know much about it, but it seems like a headache. I'm a traditionalist. I love the old school college style. You're an amateur until you turn pro type situation. But these guys are getting really, really popular. I think about Nick Suriano and what he could do if he was allowed to make money right now, and what Anthony, well, he's out. He doesn't have to worry about it. It presents a whole different problem, and maybe it's not a problem. It's a good thing for the athletes, and if they can do that, that means they're doing something right and they're winning a whole heck of a lot of matches. So good for them, and And I just don't know a whole heck of a lot enough to really comment about it, although I commented about it.
What is hosting the Big Ten tournament? What does that mean to you and this program?
Honestly, it's cool. It's cool. We're hosting it. We don't have to travel. It's another tournament. It's another tournament. It's exciting that it's here, only because I know the New Jersey fan base, right? And I know it's up against the New Jersey State tournament, but that place is going to be packed. So that's really cool. We don't have to go far. We get to show off this beautiful facility. But at the end of the day, the same formats, the same size, is a little Hoosier quote, right? It's the same. It's going to be it's the same formats, and it's the Big Ten championship. To me, the toughest tournament in the world. Maybe next to Eureka or something like that, where all the Russians are in it. But I think the Big Ten championships are maybe one of the top 5 toughest tournaments in the world. That's just the truth. It's hard. So formats down, we're able to host it, show off this facility, and we don't have to travel. That's the biggest plus to the whole thing. All right, guys, I appreciate you. Thank you very much.